Welcome to DayZ. Hello, my friends. My name's Cameron. I've been making a bunch of videos recently, a lot of them being in official DayZ. And because of this, I've come across a lot of different things that official kind of brings to the table that other experiences that DayZ players have that do not. The main reason I like playing official is because you get a lot of new players. It's very easy to interact with people on official, and it offers a true vanilla experience. It's not something where someone decided, oh, I like these mods, so I think they should be in the game. Nothing like that. It is the only true vanilla experience I think that you could truly get, because you're getting such a broad spectrum of players. You're getting experienced players, you're getting cheaters, you're getting brand new players, you're getting this broad range. And the reason why I wanted to talk about how official DayZ is broken, and I don't mean that as clickbait, I mean that like 100%, official DayZ is broken. And the reason why I need to vocalize this is because a lot of new players are drawn to official DayZ. Of course, they're looking in the same way I'm looking at it. They're looking at it as a true vanilla experience that the devs are hopefully moderating, that will allow them to experience the game without the corruption of maybe a bad admin who's abusing their experience, or extra loot that will make it a little bit easier. They want to experience the true game. And the reality is, when you play official DayZ, you're experiencing almost what the true game could be, but because of something called the hive, which we're going to talk about in depth here, which is the problem with official DayZ, I'm convinced. Because of something called the hive, you don't get a true experience. You don't get a legitimate 100% vanilla, no abused experience. You get quite the opposite. So I just wanted to take a second today to talk about this. One, to educate all the new players that come to my channel, because we do have a lot of new players here, and also just to bring this up into conversation, to bring it into the sphere so that people could actually talk about this. I put a Twitter post out asking people, do they think officials should have a hive, with an overwhelming amount of no's to yes. Today, we're going to try and approach these topics, talk about why the hive is bad. So first off, when you're playing official, you have two characters. You have one for first person and one for third person. First person, you could play Chernarus, Livonia, or Sakal with that one character. So I could go on Sakal, get all the Sakal gear, all winter geared out, and then I could join Chernarus and bring all that winter gear over into Chernarus. Now, hey guys, this is Cameron here in post, and I just want to express that it doesn't only apply to map changes. So I could join Chernarus 3803, and this will be the same character that if I disconnect, I could join Chernarus 2599, and my character from 3803 will move over to here. But I could also join from 3803, my Chernarus first person. I could join this 1354 Sakal as well. I'm just trying to get you guys to understand that you have one character for first person across all the servers and one character for third. Sorry, I wanted to clarify so it's as digestible as possible. This, if not abused, is a fine mechanic. It's not a problem in itself until people learn how to abuse it. The reason why this is bad is, let's say I'm roaming around and I see your base right there. You built a base on official, first base you ever built. You just built one wall. You felt good about it. You made a couple crates. You stored it behind there. If I see that base, now I could play on that full pop server that you're on and try and get the raiding gear, but it would be quite difficult with all the other players moving around. There's a lot of different variables that come into place when you're playing on a high pop server, and I may end up getting got while I'm in that process of getting the raiding supplies to raid your base. So what do? The majority of people, I think, on official, what they do is they disconnect, they join. I shouldn't say the majority. A lot of people, what they do is they disconnect when they find that base, and they join a low population server with no people, which removes all of the variables of threat of being shot while they're getting all this loot to bring it back to raid your base. And they join a server with 0 people in it. They get all of the raiding supplies, join back into your server, and then they run to your base and blow it up. Now, to you, your base just got raided. You don't know what happened, how it happened, what went down. But the reality is, what happened was slimy. It was scummy. It wasn't like they were challenged and had to work to the same degree of difficulty that you had to work to build that base. They just had to join an empty server, which is something that the hive allows to happen, and then come back and raid your shit that you work super hard on. This is broken. There's a different economy in every server based on the player population, based on where they're residing, based on how they're accessing everything. And to just be able to exit the difficulty of a high pop and join a low pop and then come back and blow your base up. What are we doing here? What are we doing? That makes no sense. That should not be in the game. There's no reason why anyone should be able to change server and just have an ease of access to the same loot that I'm trying to struggle on a high pop, okay? So the second reason why this server switching is no good, on Chernarus, I'll just use this as an example. There are spawns that are separate from fresh spawns. So if I just died on the server and I click respawn, it's gonna spawn me somewhere along the coast. If I switch servers and I have that extended timer, it's sometimes 1:30, I believe it gets up to. If I have that spawn timer, it's going to spawn me a little bit inland, but relative to the coast. It's going to spawn me not on the coast, but probably within vision of the coast, within a couple 100 meters of the coast, whatever it may be. Now, let's say I'm a absolute fresh spawn and I just spawned inland a little bit from switching servers and I didn't realize. I thought I was joining the same server. It's not a big deal. I'm going to run about my day. No problem. I'm going to start my journey all the same as any other player is. The problem is when someone comes with massive amounts of gear. So let's say I just joined, let's say very similarly to the raid situation. I just joined an official low pop server. I ran all the way to Northwest Airfield. I got helicopter crashes that no one else was looting. I got Northwest Airfield that no one else was looting. I got all of this loot that I had no threat of anyone taking it from me. Now what I do is I disconnect from that server. I join any other official server and I'm going to spawn relative to the coast. I just want to quickly vocalize. I don't care if someone runs to Northwest Airfield, gets a bunch of gear, and then runs back to the coast and shoots a bunch of fresh spawns. That's a scummy way to play. I don't do that. I would never do that. I think that's a dirtbag move, but I'm not going to sit here and tell someone how they should play a game that they purchase when they're acting within the regular rules of the game. But when we're abusing mechanics that are in the game, when we're taking something like the respawn location and we're using that to our advantage, well, now the situation shifted a little bit. You know what I mean? Now we're acting outside of the normal rule set of the game and we're using something to get quickly back to the coast and get advantage. And what this does, right, is, and I see this on third person servers especially. I play third person and first person all the time. I never play in third person, like the camera's never behind me. I'm playing in first person, but I play on third person all the time. When I play on third person servers, everybody is on the coast. Why are they all on the coast? Because a bunch of people are doing this exact thing that I'm talking about, and then they're just doing a death match on the coast constantly. And once one person gets killed by that geared player, they're like on a death mission to just run back and get that person and kill them for what they did to them, right? When I play third person, and sometimes first person too, there's nobody inland because there's no reason to go inland, because that takes a bunch of time to not run into anybody. And when you very first start the game, you don't realize that that is the beauty of the game. I don't know if you guys have ever played official and you're wandering around and you get inland and you're just wondering where everyone is. Well, I can tell you where they are. They're all on the coast. They're exchanging M4s and dialogues. In my most recent video, perfect example, I think. In my most recent video with, it's my second to most recent video, Umberto and the friends, we ran into someone who was accusing me of being a YouTuber and he explained, could you unalive me? My buddy just died with an M4 and an SVD in Cherno or Electro, whatever it was. And I compelled him and said, dude, screw that gear, stay with us, you know what I mean? I do not doubt, and I have no way of knowing this, I could be wrong, but I do not doubt that he got to that coast from switching servers and being in that server now and brought that stuff in. It is the way it happens. Not too long. I have another example. The other day when we were playing and we got a car working, I forget what video this was, but we got a car working. A dude just spawned into the building right next to where we were. He said that he spawned right up the road. We ran into him later after we killed the guy and we took all of his gear. We run into him later and he explains, oh, I just switched servers and I joined the server and I spawned in Baronzino right there and I ran down to that location and he conflicted with us. When we were just fresh spawns, we had just started our journey. We were having a great story. One of us died. Thankfully, that guy made it back to the site where we were about to drive this car away because we were working on getting the car working. But let's say that guy didn't come back. He was just robbed of an experience because a fully geared player switched servers from Sakal. Also, this dude was wearing full winter gear. Switched servers from Sakal, into Cherno, killed one of us on the coast when he had full gear. It is an absolutely broken mechanic. They're like, having it exist just doesn't make any sense to me. And I could sit here and I could talk about how hackers are an issue on official. And I think honestly, for me, the only time I think hackers are a problem on official is when it's at like full pop on the weekends, when all the teenagers aren't in school and they're at home and their parents aren't watching them play on the computer. That's when we get a lot of hackers. You get hackers at like prime time hours. So me, I don't even play official on the weekend because I know there's going to be cheaters on there. And maybe they're few and far between, but the chance of having to run kind of in due to something like that just doesn't feel worth it to me at this point. So I play mostly community on the weekend. And I could talk about how combat logging exists on official. I could talk about glitching, abusing, people duping, all these different things. But really, all of that is something that we can't really control. The DayZ devs can't really like monitor actively all that stuff. They have Battle Eye, which is an anti-cheat that is supposed to like overarch, take care of all those cheaters. It obviously does not at all. It barely touches them, I imagine. These are things that the DayZ devs can't really directly impact. You know what I mean? Whether or not people are abusing duping glitches, they could like patch those glitches, but they can't do one thing to fix all of it at once. With the hive, all they have to do is remove the hive. Now, I do want to talk about the positive side of the hive. Now, let's say I'm fully geared and I feel really connected with my character and I want to join that server over there where my buddy just started. Like maybe I worked really hard for this gear and I'm so connected to it because I am a newer player. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this again, or I feel really good about it and I don't want to lose it. I don't want to start all over. Maybe that's a discouraging factor. Like I literally cannot justify anything that even comes close to the benefit of removing the hive. It is making the game on official, which is where new players join, as I previously expressed. It is making the game on official feel like a coastal battle royale. And that is bad. That is going to make you lose players over time. And also, let's say I am a new player and I'm joining official and I'm dying to a sniper who has a tundra and has a suppressor. And someone like me and other content creators are speaking that DayZ's full of hackers, DayZ's full of hackers. And then you get a fully geared player that switched servers and killed someone with the suppressor. And this new player they don't have the means yet to understand that it was just a sniper in the woods. But instead, they jumped to, it was a cheater. And then their experience related to the game is like dampened. It's not as much of a bright spot. It's not something they're looking forward to because they feel like they just got robbed. And then the DayZ devs lose an opportunity for that person to buy a DLC. The DayZ devs lose that person telling their friends that this game is good and selling more copies. It just doesn't make sense. With that being said, guys, I ain't trying to sit here and like harp at you guys. I just wanted to vocalize. So first off, you guys know you should be playing community. Until they remove the hive feature, you should be playing community. Building a base on official right now is maybe one of the silliest things anyone could do. Not because it's not a cool task. Like I build bases on official all the time, but I can tell you confidently that they always get raided, and I can't tell whether or not they're being raided from someone duping gear, from someone jumping to another server, from someone getting that and coming back. I have no idea. But what I can say is confidently 100% of the time, when there is a hive feature on a server, my base is raided. When there isn't a hive feature on a server on community, my base is almost never raided. Why is that? That seems very strange to me, okay? But yeah, I just wanted to make this video, vocalize my concerns with this. I think if anything, this needs to be fixed, and it is a very simple fix, I imagine. Just turn off the hive feature and a bunch of problems that official DayZ has would just fall away slowly. I'm not saying I'm like the end all be all. I don't know everything, but I do know for a fact that I play official DayZ more than most other content creators. Like every other content creator is playing community. Why are they playing community? Because official has all of the problems that I just listed. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope this brought some like insight or some understanding, or maybe started a conversation within the DayZ dev team. Like, I love this game. I am not saying none of this from like a place of anger. I'm not saying any of this from like anything but a want for the game to improve, and for other people, especially new players, to have a legitimate experience in the game. And I think in a lot of ways, official DayZ is what they're being attracted to, like a moth to the flame, and it is actually one of the worst places for them to experience the game legitimately. I care about you guys. Be good to each other out there. Or don't.